What's going on, YouTube? Welcome to episode 77 of the U.S.S. Enterprise D tutorial. I'm Zero Elite, and I just want to thank you very much for tuning in today's episode. And if you haven't, please don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button and helping me and supporting the channel. I can't thank you enough for that. And of course, be sure to join my Discord channel. I've got a link in the description below for all the latest updates regarding Minecraft and also my own YouTube channel. And there's a whole bunch of cool other things on my channel for Discord as well, so be sure to check that out. And today we've only got about a 22-minute episode. We're going to be kind of picking up where we left off in the last couple of episodes. We're going to be getting our work done here in the center section of our ship. We've gone down into our turbo lift, and now we're cutting out an entryway point into the what's going to be the aquatic viewing area. We're just going to get rid of some of that access that's left over. See, we got a little bit of room to work with here. We see we got just enough room here that we can build out our viewing area, and then just enough room below it to where we can build out the captain's yacht, which is going to be pretty cool. I'm still trying to figure out what I'm going to do with the captain's yacht. I'm not going to lie, I actually have not built it out yet because I've got a screenshot that they made for Star Trek Online um, that I really want to try to incorporate, but it kind of sucks too because it's only an exterior shot of the captain's yacht. It doesn't show you what the thing actually looked like on the inside. Um, which is kind of like crazy when you think about it, because like there's been like one or two areas of the ship on the Enterprise D that I got my reference material from Star Trek Online. But it's insane because if when you those of you that have played Star Trek Online, um, it's cool that they have the interiors on the ships, but they really didn't add that much for them, other than a couple of basic rooms. And that's honestly, it's one of my gripes with the game. I wish that they would have given more stuff to do on the ship interiors and maybe had a couple of episodes and missions that kind of focused on the interior of your ship, because I feel like so much of Star Trek, at least the shows anyway, a lot of it took place on the interiors, and you really don't get too much of that with the game. But I kind of sidetracked there a little bit. But the whole point of why I brought that up was that, it's kind of cool that I was able to get some of these screenshots from Star Trek Online, that they at least took the time to conceptualize some of what the areas that they look like, and giving us an idea of what to do. That's honestly one of the reasons why I decided to go with an oval shape for when I built out the viewing areas for the aquarium, and then also for the mall itself. Because I showed it a couple of episodes ago when we first started working on the mall and aquarium. Um, but the viewing area for the navigation dolphins, what they had it shaped was like an oval dome-shaped room. And I don't know why, like when I saw it, I was like, man, like that looks pretty cool. I like how that looks. I really want to try to bring that into my ship if I can. Um, and I don't know if I did. Once we get this section of the ship done, you guys are gonna have to let me know how I did on it. You can see right now we're kind of like cutting out areas that are ultimately going to be becoming our shops on the ship. Yeah, because I'm not sure if I'm just gonna have them like as maybe like computer consoles that you can go up to and like maybe have stuff replicated, or if I'm gonna have these fully fleshed out to actually have, well, not necessarily fully fleshed out, but fleshed out enough to where when you come up to them, there'll be cuts in them to kind of look like there's a shop in there. I don't know. I'm kind of still this at least area of the ship in the mall. I'm still kind of sitting on this, thinking exactly what I want to do, because originally when I built this section of the ship, or when I started work on it, I was hoping that I was going to have a little bit more room to work with, to actually have some shops in the very center right here. Um, So in the least, if I can't actually get fully fleshed out ones, then I'm at the very, very least going to have facades for them because I really want to try to have that because I want it to like feel like you're actually walking through a mall on the Enterprise D. I think that would be pretty cool. Another reason that we're working on this area so much is that we honestly really need to because um, as we progress in this build, when we go upward um, one more deck, we're going to be in the shuttle bay area. So like we kind of need to have at least the ceiling and stuff like that figured out. So when we come back to it, it won't. Well, at least when we go up to the next deck, we'll actually have a floor to work with. So that's why I'm kind of like, just taking it, section by section. I've really tried to make it a point, at least on the tutorial, going forward on my channel, that once I start an area of the ship, I try to finish it without taking any breaks. But with the Enterprise D being the scale that it's at, there's just going to be no way to avoid it because even me, sometimes, you hit creator's block. No pun intended, but that's kind of what happens where you're just not sure of what you want to do. And rather than spinning my tires trying to figuring out what I want to do without any type of reference to go off of on what I'd like to do, I'll just walk away from it for a little while and work on something else. Now, I think that I've done a pretty good job so far keeping everything together, but there's going to be a little bit of separation here and there as far as breaking up parts of the build. Like we are getting to the end of, well, not necessarily the mall itself, but we're getting to a point where we're going to be taking a break here pretty soon. Um, because if I recall correctly, I think after we got the ceiling done, um, I think I take a break for a while and work on other areas of the ship, and I come back to it a little bit later on. Because the crazy part is I'm still not even fully done with it yet. But I'm really looking forward to when we get to show off some of these other areas of the ship, specifically engineering and the bridge. Those areas came out fantastic, and there's still stuff that I want to do. I want to work on the holodeck, which we're going to talk about here in actually maybe a moment or two. But I want to get into what we got going on here as I just kind of skip to the next part with editing. But you can see right now I'm on the outer wall here of our mall, and what I'm doing is I'm adding basically like a starting point template for what our walkway is going to be. And to make things easy on me, what I'm doing here is I'm using what I call my builder block. I'm using a color block that stands out from the rest of the build so that I know how many layers I need to add. What's also going to be beneficial with this is that it's going to end up being the same color as our walkways. So really all I'm doing is I'm using the same template as the outline that we have right now, but I'm adding one more row behind it. So this is just kind of a lazy way of not having to go back to the pixel circle generator um, and not have to enter all that stuff in again. Now, what will ultimately happen is that since we're doing it this way, the oval is going to somewhat get distorted. But to be perfectly honest with you, and I decided to do it for this reason, that we're at a point that as we're going through this section of the ship, you're not going to notice the distortment in the hallways, or at least you shouldn't. I don't think that we will. So I kind of just decided, I'm like, you know what? Like in this one point, like I'll make the one exception. Normally, what I would do is I would go back and I would hit up the pixel circle generator and I'd do the math to figure out the exact size of this area that I need to do it in, and then I'd do it correctly. But for the sake of saving us a little bit of time and not having to spend an entire episode to do that, I'm just doing what you see right now. No, because this is definitely going to be very important because this walkway that we're adding right now is going to be the starting line template for what's going to be the primary shops that I've been talking about. like I said, we're not going to be working on them in the immediate future. We are going to be taking a break, and we'll be coming back to them. Because if I remember right, I end up going and I work on the bridge and the primary shuttle bay and engineering, and it's not until I'm going to come back and add in the inner ring corridors that we're actually going to add the foundation for the primary mall shops. And some of you are probably thinking like, whoa, like, wait a second, inner ring corridors? Like, I thought you were done with that. Well, I was. But then I decided that I have so much room on my ship that it kind of made sense, based on the scale of it, to have another section of corridors on the ship. And it's not something that I typically like to do because it kind of goes against my rule that I like to build out my corridors well before I put my ceiling in so I can see. But I'm going to show you guys how to cheat it on here. And what we'll be basically doing is using the template of the rings of the ovals that we have here in the ground to build it out. So we won't actually need to hit up the pixel circle generator again, which will be pretty cool. Um, so like I say, like even as I go, like I learn new ways to get better as a builder on Minecraft. And if there's no reason to hit up the pixel circle generator again, I'll be the first one to tell you like, yeah, let's just do it that other way then, because um, the pixel circle generator, like it's an asset, and I'm thankful that I was able to come across that thing. But it's a pain in the ass. I hate to say it, but it kind of is. It's the only part of the build that I actually have to go off of a template, and it takes a little bit of time to get it right. And then you have to get your template down and then build that out exactly. Otherwise, it doesn't come out right. And that's exactly what it is. It's a pain in the ass. So I try to limit down as much using the pixel circle generator as I possibly can. So that's why we'll be using our pre-existing ovals that we have here. Um, but I'm hoping that maybe in the manner in which I do it on this tutorial series, I'm hoping I'll be able to bring that with me in the future. So this way going forward, when I do other builds, maybe I'll be able to do it in the same manner just to make things a little bit easier on myself. Because, like I said, it's a continuous learning experience for me on Minecraft to learn how to build just a little bit smarter and better on here. All right, we're looking pretty good so far. We've got the one side done. Now we've just got to basically do the other side. You can see I pre-cut out my doorways because we need to know where the doorways are going to be. And rather than building all that in real time, I went ahead and I just skipped it because you guys are just going to be repeating the same process. And what we're going to be doing now is going back and adding a row of white concrete. Now, this probably doesn't seem that big to you, and that's because it's not supposed to be. Really, only thing that we're working on right now is getting the size of the hallways down. And this is giving me an idea of how much room I have to work with, assuming that the next row over from this white row is going to be a wall, maybe. So this is kind of what we were talking about when I was working on the center section when we were doing the foundations um, in the mall, that when you throw down your foundations first, it can be a great indicator of how things are going to work out and how much room you're going to have to work with. Um, so that's why I'm doing this right now. So this way, before even putting up any walls, I can get a really good idea of just how much room I'm going to have to work with, and if 4 blocks wide is going to be enough. I might actually, because of the angle of this oval, I might actually need to go to 5. But I don't know. We'll kind of play it by ear and see what happens. Um, but still, nonetheless, great asset to use when you're building on Minecraft. Start with your foundations and then take a second to take a look at what you have and see if you need to make it wider or not. Because will definitely show you how much room you have to work with. I think for me anyway, what I'm mostly concerned with is as I'm walking through the corridor, and this will happen to you when you start working with either circles or ovals, that when the turn starts, it's it's not going to feel four wide, even though it's four wide. It's going to feel a lot thinner. So that's why most of the time when I do my ovals, or circle corridors, I 9 times out of 10 I believe I make it 5 wide, just so I have just enough room to do it. I think it ends up either being 4 or 5 wide, something like that. When you get down to a point where you're doing like 3 wide, like forget about it. You're going to be hitting walls as you're going through your corridors. But this part is definitely very important because we want to have this stuff built out now, because then we can get a sense of how much room we're going to have to work with to build out our shops around this as well. And then we'll also be coming back and adding in our inner ring corridors, which is also really important. Um, and that's one of the main reasons why we're going to do it in that order, at least when we're working on the saucer section, that other than the bridge and the primary shuttle bay and even the secondary and tertiary, like when you're really like on the actual saucer, um, corridor is the most important thing, because that's going to dictate how much room you're going to have to work with, and that's going to kind of help you out and separate your ship up just a little bit for you. Um, Now, see this row that I'm adding right here, the light gray, this is essentially a wall. So this is now going to really help us out here in seeing, okay, is this enough room to walk through? And as you can see, I'm not doing all 4 sides live. I'm only doing 2 sides, and then I'm skipping ahead. So everything that you guys see me doing on this one side here, you're going to do this on all 4 sides of your outer wall of your mall, because it's the same process. It's just like when we work on our corridors. It's the same thing. It's a slightly different template. And this could very well work. This might just be wide enough to where we can make that work. That's looking pretty good. As you can see, I've already off camera done this other side, but coming back again, and I'm doing now the row light gray concrete. But this row that we're adding now, this is what the wall is going to be. I think after we get done with these last couple of rows, I think that's actually going to wrap up today's episode, if I'm not mistaken. But definitely a lot of cool stuff coming in the channel going forward. Don't forget, we've got the 2016 U.S.S. Enterprise A tutorial coming when we hit 1,000 subscribers, but that's definitely going to be a thing. And once we are done with the Enterprise D, Voyager is going to be the next build. But don't let that discourage you. You know, if there are ships that you want to see me work on, be sure to drop a comment below. Let me know what ships you want to see me build. And you can also let me know on Discord as well. And, you know, speaking of the Discord, you know, I've got the Discord channel going now too. I'll have a description in the, I'll have a link in the description below so that people can join it. But the Discord is going to be such a huge asset for me because it's going to be a way for people to get in touch with me and show me their builds. And if they need help, I'll be able to help you a little bit better, and I'll be able to visually see what you're working on. And not only that, just those of you that just want to share your builds with the community and let other people see it, let me see it. I think that's awesome. Like one of the people I had join my Discord the other day. Um, had posted their builds, and they posted like some stuff from Star Wars. They had a Star Destroyer and stuff like that. Like it actually, like it looked pretty cool. They did a really good job with it, and I think it was awesome to see them add that stuff in. But getting a little what we got going on here, you can see that I'm going to add a foundation here. I think the starting point basically, see how wide my shops are going to be, but I don't think we're going to do anything outside that first initial row right there. I think we're going to do the same thing on this side here. We're going to start off at the longest point. We're going to grab 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then bring it all the way over. And then do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then on the fifth row, bring it all the way over. And again, I'm just going off the initial pattern that we already have. So we're completely cheating at this point and just using the oval that we had to work with. Because I don't want to bring it that all the way back to, if I really wanted to, I could use that next row of right here where they're the sea lanterns. I could have brought it back to that, but I didn't want to go quite that far because there's going to be other stuff in that area, specifically our inner ring corridors. But this is just honestly to give me a gauge of how big the shops could be, and if it's going to be enough or if it's going to be too much. So that's why I'm just doing um, one cut line and then seeing how it looks. And I'm going to let it marinate on that and come back to it at a later point. But that could definitely be what it's going to end up being. I don't know. We'll have to see how it goes. Anyway, I do think that's going to wrap us up today. And I just want to thank everybody again for tuning in today's episode. And don't forget, you can always catch my new Minecraft episodes dropping Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. And of course, if you have any questions regarding today's episode, be sure to drop a comment below or in Discord, or if there's any builds you want to see, or just dropping by to say, hey, definitely love from hearing from everybody. And of course, don't forget to join my Discord channel. I'll have a link in the description below. And I think that's about it. I just want to thank everybody again for tuning in today's episode, and I hope everybody has a happy and safe weekend, and I hope everybody had a great holiday, and I'll catch you on the next episode. And of course, what did you make in Minecraft today? Let me know in the comments section.